energy sector in Thailand, I think the driving force is from the big picture, from the global perspective as well. So my talk today will be two parts. The first one will be like the big picture of the global energy landscape and the driving force. Some are the driving force, some are the pressure that shape our direction of energy policy. And the latter one will be like the key policy agendas in energy sector in Thailand. The first one is like the bidding of the expiring concession of the petroleum fuel in the Gulf of Thailand, the major one. And the second one is the revision of the new PDP, or Power Development Plan. I think these two topics is of interest by the public and also the business and investor as well. So to start with, I will tell the story of the big picture, what the world are moving, and what will be the implication for energy sector and for Thailand energy sector. The first one is the population. We know that with increasing population, we need more energy, right? We have now 7.4 billion population in the world. In the next 20 years, in 2040, it's going to be 9 billion. It's challenging that how we can fill the need of the increasing population. So from 7.4 billion population, it is a surprise that we have more than 1 billion people in the world without access to electricity. So this number have to be decreased by the SDG. We have goal to increase the access to modern energy, including electricity. So it is challenging that when population is going to increase to 9 billion in 2040, the IEA, or International Energy Agency, expect that we need 1% increase in energy each year to satisfy the demand of the growing population. So, and also the key growth in energy demand is from India, where the economy and the population is on the rise. The next issue is that urbanization. As we have heard from His Excellency, Minister of Digital Economy and Society, about the urbanization. The size of population matter, but where they live is also the big issue in energy. So when people tend to move to the city, and the city is expanding, so that's increased the complication of energy service to serve the city. The need for mobility, the need for facility, the increased use of electric appliance, increase the energy demand in the city. So from 2007, this is the first time that the number of population in the city are more than half of the total number of the population. And in 2016, 54% of population are now living in the city. And it soon increased to 60% by 2040. So this is the driver that why we need to have the smart city, why we need to have the smart mobility, smart energy management. So this is the thing that we need to prepare. So the next issue that all of you may know or you have experienced some extreme weather is the climate change. Climate change is shaping energy policy formulation, I think, in many countries, and also, I think, include Thailand. So we have seen the debate about how to choose like the dry fuel mix for power generation, And this is also public awareness on the climate change that putting some pressure on the policymaker in order to balance the objectives. So it has been around the international negotiation table for many decades, but it's only reached the critical milestone in 2014 in Paris. So I think every country have the same issue about climate change. Next one is digitalization. Also, you have heard a lot from His Excellency, Minister of Digital Economy and Society. In energy as well, it also affects how we produce and consume energy. With the decreased cost of sensor or internet connection, we can now install small device of sensor that can detect energy use and that can control the energy use from your mobile phone. And also it poses some risks as well, like the Excellency Minister said. In some countries that they have a case of solar rooftop installed on the roof, and then it's connected to the server of the energy company. And for some reason, there is a case that hacker can access to the control box of the solar rooftop at the house. So this is the thing that we need to prepare as well. And also, in the big picture, the power system is evolving to more digitalization. The figure from International Agency show that the investment in digital infrastructure in 2016 globally exceed the amount of investment in the gas, the thermal generation itself. I mean, digitalization is everywhere. So you can manage energy consumption in your home, on your mobile phone, and also in some country, the load aggregator or the utility can also have contract with you to control your electricity use. In order you can get benefit from some time that because increase the temperature of this room by 1 degree, you may not feel the difference, but it changes a lot in energy consumption. So this is the way that digitalization can change the way we consume and we produce energy. Also, we have the global goals. For energy, we are at SDG number 7, affordable, clean energy for all. Affordable means the world citizen can access to modern energy, for example, electricity, clean cooking fuel. In SDG, we have the target that people could have to, all people have access to electricity. In Thailand, we don't think that it's not a problem. We have 99.9% of people can access to electricity from the grid. And also another clean energy is that in the world we have so different development spectrum. In some country, they use some wood log or manure to cook food. And then the WHO mentioned that it's not good for your health, especially it creates premature death and respiratory problem. So, but in Thailand, it's not the problem anymore, but it's in the SDG. Second goal of SDG is to increase the share of renewable energy globally. In Thailand now, we have share of renewable around 14 or 15%, around that, in electricity, in heat, and in biofuel for transportation. That's not a big deal for us as well. And also energy efficiency. They have the target to decrease energy intensity, which is the energy divided by the GDP. Want to decrease the amount of energy that you use to be more productive in energy use. So the global goal is also the framework for us to work as well. This is the key driver for the energy sector and maybe all sector as well, that it set the path for us, and we need to choose which direction we're going to. So I would like to talk briefly about the world energy situation that can link directly to our future energy. So the series of slides of the following slides are courtesy to the International Energy Agency. I got this information a few months ago from the Executive Director, Dr. Fatih Birol, who visited Thailand and Ministry of Energy in July. So he shared some, useful information that you can have the good look at how world energy sector is evolving. So the first slide is about oil. I think for now, many people is talking, yes, electric vehicle is going to replace oil significantly, but from the data that the IEA collect, oil still remain the key energy source for the world in the foreseeable future to come. It has its world energy outlook released last year, 2017. It said that in 2040, electric vehicle in the scenario would reach 140 million vehicles. Seem a lot, but it's only 8% of the total stock of vehicles globally. And it replaced 1.3 million of oil consumption per day. So the IEA see that the world still need a lot of oil in the future to come. And you can see that during the past 5 years, we have growth. The bar chart identify the growth each year. 2015, you see a lot of growth due to the price slump in late 2014. And then we have increasing oil consumption each year. And for the oil sector, another major consumer that the IEA identify is the petrochemical industry. They use a lot of oil for now and to the future as well. And there's some note to look at the oil sector is that from 2014, that oil price dropped down. We have seen decrease in the investment in the oil and gas sector. And it should have an effect in the year to come, because in general, like the conventional oil source or resource, it takes time to invest, had long lead time, then we have slowdown in investment, then sooner or later it will have short of capacity. But the new thing is that the unconventional source in the US is small and more agile, so it can move down or up very quick. So IEA mentioned that in the year to come, we can see volatility as well, but IEA cannot mention about oil price, so they don't tell us how the oil price will be. Another one is the gas. So natural gas having the more important role in the energy globally. We have the key producer in the US from the shale gas and Australia and Russia as well. We see a lot of gas. And what we see is that there's a lot of gas coming to the market in terms of LNG or liquefied natural gas. So the LNG market will reach 500 billion cubic meter by 2023. So LNG is like the energy commodity. So can move anywhere in the world. Also, Thailand is one of the countries that are going to import more LNG in the future because we have declining domestic consumption while the demand is increasing. So LNG will reach 40% of the global gas trade. In the past, gas trade only by the pipeline. Majority of trade is by the pipeline, but recently LNG market is growing very quick, and it become the important global energy commodity. Another issue is electricity. So the energy world is moving to electricity in transportation, in heating. So Southeast Asia is one region that have to increase its capacity by more than double. It's currently more than capacity of the number of generation from Japan, the incremental. So we need a lot of investment in electricity. If you look at Thailand, electricity consumption per capita is around 2,000 something kilowatt hour per year, per people per year. But in other countries, for example, in the EU, it's around 5,000. In the USA, is 12,000. There's a lot of room for us to consume more. And then another trend is the declining cost of wind and solar that you may know. So this factor have changed the picture of power planning that I will mention in the latter part. So traditionally, we have the belief that when we invest in power generation, the larger is the cheaper. But now we have small size of electricity production from the solar that the cost went down a lot and becomes cheaper, or people say it's a grid parity to the conventional power plant. This figure shows the falling cost from the auction that will come online in the future. So with the declining cost of solar PV, it gives people choice to choose whether to buy electricity from the grid or produce by yourself. And we've seen a lot in Thailand right now. But Thailand is in the early stage of renewable energy development. We have seen some complication in dealing with the wind and solar. For Thailand, is only solar that we have a lot. But because this kind of electricity from wind and solar, we call it intermittent. So with the some day we have sunny day, some day we have cloudy day. but we need to use electricity every day. So we have to deal with the variability of the energy production from this kind of renewable. So the IEA have study for Thailand last year, setting up the recommendation how to prepare in moving up from each phase of renewable energy penetration. We call the integration of the system. So we have to look at the recommendation, and some investment is needed to prepare the system for this kind of new technology. Because the electricity grid in Thailand, we traditionally use it for deliver or distribute electricity to the household. But now that's on reverse. Some household could produce and send it to the grid. That some rules and regulations need to be adapted to accommodate this kind of change in the energy system. So this is the thing that could affect, and this is the surrounding environment that Thailand energy sector need to be taken into account in setting up the policy. But the thing I want to mention is that our energy direction is moving towards security, in which you can be sure that you can have your energy service at the time you want. And economy, in terms of cost or tariff, the consumer must have the competitive price. You get what you pay, and what you pay reflect the efficiency. And also in terms of investment, because for energy sector, we have two roles for this economy. The first one, we provide energy. And the second one, we provide growth. You have seen growth of energy sector starting from maybe 30 years ago when we opened up the power system. Not only the EGAT or Electricity Generation Authority of Thailand was the only producer. We opened up for independent power producer. We opened up for small power producer that generate electricity and steam for the industrial estate. We have the very small power producer generating from renewable. And you see that the business are growing along with our sector. So this is two roles that we need to make sure that people get the right price for energy, and also the business or the private sector can grow with us all together. And also sustainability. So for energy sector, traditionally, we are on the other side of the, when we build something, there will be some environmental impact. But now I think that with technology advancement, we can minimize the impact. And for some technology, we can increase it more because it's friendly to the environment. So this is the three objectives that the Thailand energy direction is heading to. Sometimes people call this three things the trilemma, because, okay, you can have security, but you need to sacrifice for the environment, or you can have the security, but you have to pay a lot. But is this a challenging issue for the policymaker to make sure that we balance all these three objectives? And I believe that with technology advancement, we can now achieve the best from each objectives. So I would like to pinpoint on two agendas that very important to Thailand energy sector in the near future. The first one is natural gas. Since we discovered natural gas from the Gulf of Thailand 40 years ago, it changed Thailand a lot in terms of energy. The first thing, we have the new source of clean fossil fuel that we can use for power generation. In the past, we used the fuel oil, the diesel. We can use natural gas, which is the cleanest fossil fuel. And then another part is that natural gas from the Gulf of Thailand have created the petrochemical industry in the Eastern Seaboard that create a lot of value to the economy since then. For natural gas, our supply is now around 70% domestically, and it's on the decline. We need to import from Myanmar, which is on the decline as well. And then another thing that would be the key is the LNG. We have the LNG receiving terminal in Maptaput, operated by the PTT. And outlook for natural gas supplies, we tend to increase more import from LNG. But we have the aim to keep or sustain the domestic consumption as well. Because the LNG is the pure methane, it's usually for like the fuel for generation or industry. But the natural gas from the Gulf of Thailand, we call like the wet gas. The wet gas means we can separate the valuable hydrocarbon from the gas. For example, ethane, propane, butane, or C5+, that can be used for LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, and the feedstock for the petrochemical business. And now the main user of natural gas is the power sector. 60% of natural gas is used for that sector. The important thing is that since we have produced natural gas from the Gulf of Thailand for 40 years, it's time that for some concession going to be expired. So what we need to do is that we want to ensure that the country has natural gas security. And what is the security? Is this to keep the production stability and continuously. The two petroleum concessions that are going to expire is the Erawan and Bangkok. Erawan is now operated by Chevron. Bangkok is now operated by the PTTEP. So these two fields produce around 76% of the natural gas production from the Gulf of Thailand. So last year, the new Petroleum Act, the amendment, has additional fiscal regime for petroleum E&P. The regime that we use for 40 years is the concession system. The amendment of the Petroleum Act, we add the thing called production sharing contract and the service contract. So these three fiscal regimes are the ones that have been used globally. And we add the new system, the new fiscal system, PSC and SC. So the bidding concession of the bidding of the Erawan and Bangkok field is going to use the production sharing contract. So we have opened for the interested bidder. For Erawan field, we have the interested bidder including Chevron, PTTEP, Mubadala, and Total. And for Bangkok, we have 3 bidders, Chevron, PTT, and Mubadala. So it is the task of the Ministry of Energy to set the bidding scheme to ensure that we have the continuous production of natural gas, at least for some time to come. Then the business and that can plan. So for the Erawan, the G1/61, we have the minimum production requirement of 800 million standard cubic foot per day. And for Bangkok, 700. So we want to make sure that after the expiring concession, we have no interruption. We have secure at some level of natural gas production from these 2 fields. This is the first objective, to have the stable, continuous natural gas production. The second one is the price. So the bidder needs to submit the price. And we have the aim to set that price must not high. So we set the starting price must not exceed the ceiling of 240 baht per million BTU. So in order to make sure that in the future, since natural gas is the fuel for power generation and for everything, price is not high. So this is the thing that we carefully set the bidding scheme to ensure that we need to have security and economy in terms of the cost that Thai people, Thai business, and Thai manufacturer have to pay in the future. So this is the bidding term. And so also we have some components such as the bonus that the benefit to the government. This is one of the factor as well that we need to concern. And also we have the factor of the employment to make sure that Thai employee contribute to the development of these 2 gas fields. So this is the bidding time frame. We start off in March, officially submit the bidding plan to the National Energy Policy Council, chaired by the Prime Minister. And then in April, late April, we submit the bid announcement to the NEPC. And then after that, we open for pre-qualified bidder. Now we are in the period of proposal preparation by the bidder that to be submitted by 25th of September next month. And then we have around 3 months to do the selection process. And the winner of the bidding to be announced by December. And then we submit to the cabinet and to sign the PSC contract by February. This is the time frame that we set, and is now according to the plan. So people may think that why we need to do that in advance, because the concession is going to end in 2022, because in the Gulf Thailand we need a lot of investment there's geographical difference in the formation of the, we call like the pocket of the petroleum. In the Gulf of Thailand, we have like small pocket. The operator have to drill a lot of holes to get the gas or petroleum out. In some country in Myanmar, they have like the large basin that they don't need a lot of investment. But in the Gulf of Thailand, we need a lot of investment to maintain the production of natural gas. And to set that in advance, that we know the winner, we have time for preparation that to make sure that the transition period is smooth and we have continuous production. So this is for natural gas. So another issue or key agenda of the Ministry of Energy right now is about electricity. You may heard of the Power Development Plan. That is the plan that mentioned how much capacity, power generation capacity to be added across the time. We have the current plan is the PDP 2015. It's set for 20 years. We have planned each year we need new power plant, new power plant. So the reason that why we need to have the very long plan is that power project development need long lead time, and we want to make sure that we would have the power plant come online when we need. So for electricity, currently we have around 42 gigawatt of capacity, not including the very small power producer. EGAT share around 37%, IPP or independent power producer, the private part, 35%, SPP, small power producer, the private one as well, 19%, and import of 9%. And we have the one called very small power producer, the one that sell electricity with contract less than 10 megawatt, mostly renewable energy. And we have the new term called the isolated power supply. This is the manufacturer that have their own generator. We have seen a lot of the effect of the IPS in the few years ago. Normally, the peak demand of Thailand electricity system is increasing every year. But in the last few years, we see some drop in the peak demand, although the total energy electricity consumption is increasing, but peak demand is decreasing. We investigate that the IPS from solar rooftop would be one of the key contributor to the drop in peak demand. As we see the global solar PV price going down, it's now profitable for the manufacturer to install the solar PV to the roof of their factory, the roof of the building, to get cheaper electricity. So that's why we see drop in electricity peak demand. So in revising the PDP, the current PDP does not consider the decentralization. The decentralization comes from the driver of lower cost renewable energy. Regional power management and regional power plant for energy security. For example, the current PDP do for the whole country. You may see that the country have some level of reserve margin, the gap between the peak and the capacity. But in some region, for example, the southern part, they don't have much reserve margin. And maybe like the capacity of the large power plant are very close to their demand. So in this PDP, we're going to look more on regional aspect to make sure that in each region, we have enough capacity and enough security for the power system. Also, we need to take into account the new factor, for example, the new GDP forecast, the data on independent power supply, in which in the past we didn't take this into account, but it affects the investment decision. As you can see, if solar PV costs going lower and lower, and the government develop the platform or adapt change the regulation that enable more solar self-generation into the system, we will see change in the whole power system. For example, the National Energy Reform Council Committee has set the plan for like the solar rooftop scheme that enable the one who want to install the solar PV to their building to make it easier, make it more transparent, and also talking about the use of the utility grid for future possible trading of electricity produced by the solar rooftop. This is the thing that we need to take into account. It's a new one. It's the global trend. And also like the EV policy and the demand from the EEC. This is the new demand that we are going to take into account. And also, in which I think the revision of the new PDP, mainly we take into account the change in technology that relating to energy production and consumption. So one issue in developing the PDP is to deciding the fuel mix, which is very difficult and sometimes controversial. So in deciding the fuel mix, we want to make sure that we have sufficient or reliable source of fuel. We need to diversify because you may know about the portfolio management that you don't have to put all eggs in one basket. Power system as well. We should not rely on a particular fuel for so much. But if that unavoidable, we need to live with it. We need to find a way to manage or to have the response system that can take into account when we have unplanned incident. So I worked many years on the emergency response, like the coordinating office. So when we have unplanned or planned shutdown in the natural gas field, we need to find a way to replace or substitute the fuel for power generation. For example, we need to use diesel or fuel oil instead of natural gas, because natural gas is good, it's clean, but one physical characteristic is that it's very difficult to be stored. When we have oil, we can feel that in the tank. We have coal, we can stock on the ground, but natural gas is difficult to be stored. This is one thing that we need to take into account. Also, the environmental aspect and price. So the principle of the new PDP is that first, we are going to have the secure electricity infrastructure, generation, transmission, and distribution network. We must have fuel diversification that to reduce any risk on a particular fuel. And power plant for security in each region that can be able to manage the unplanned incident that is going to occur in each region. And also the smart grid that link to the idea of the smart city. And also in terms of cost or economy, we want to make sure that we have the suitable cost for power generation and consumer pay the right price that reflect efficiency and competition. And also, we plan to open for some competition in the power system as well. And another one issue is to improve the grid efficiency. We have the term called the merit order. Without any constraint, the system operator of the power system is to operate on the merit order, which means that the one that has the lowest variable cost will be generating first. But in our current system, we still have some constraint, for example, transmission constraint, that in some area, we have some efficient generation in that place, but it cannot be transmitted to another place because transmission constraint. So we need to unlock and create more efficient power system that most of the generation will be from the merit. The lowest cost will be generating first. And also for environment, we promote renewable and also to promote the efficiency in the end-use sector. So to sum up my talk today, we have seen that the world is changing in many aspects: demographic, economic, and society. These things shape our decision as well. We need to have the policy that can be robust under the changing environment, with the three pillars that I already mentioned: security, economy, and sustainability. For security, we want to make sure that we have continuous energy supply for all, people, business, manufacturing. We have adequate infrastructure investment. Each year in energy sector, we estimate investment in the large infrastructure around 500 billion baht per year. That's a lot. So we want to make sure that the investment from state-owned enterprise and from the private utility is enough to serve demand. And also we are taking care of regional security to make sure that each region will be well supplied by electricity. And also for economy, we're going to have the competitive price, competitive energy price that reflect efficiency in operation and possible competition in the future. So for competition, we'll start to open up the natural gas sector, we have the third-party access code that need to be implemented. We believe that competition will bring more efficiency. And I think for the energy sector, we have a lot of opportunity for innovation in energy management, both supply side and demand side, which is the opportunity for the new business to grow altogether with the sector. And also for sustainability, we believe that technological change enable us to achieve the first two objectives without sacrificing our environment. And also for me personally, although there is no silver bullet that kind of policy that can get based from these three objectives right now, but I think in the future, we are going to the right direction to the secure energy system that enabling growth to the whole economy. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much.